The holiday season is finally upon us, and the Farmington Players are getting into the Christmas spirit with A Very Farmington Christmas. Joining us today is one of the actors from production, Jason Wilhoite. Thank you so much for being here. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
We are so excited for this production. How has it been so far with the rehearsal process? Because you're opening tonight.
Yeah. It's been such a great experience. The show is just a laugh a minute, super fun, very high energy. There's only 4 actors in the show, but there is probably about 15 different characters or so that appear. And that is what makes all of the kind of funny bits happen where there's a lot of fast costume changes, and I play one of the characters who's coming in and out as all of these auxiliary characters that you find in your favorite Hallmark holiday movie.
Right, because it kind of spoofs the Hallmark holiday movie that we all kind of know and love. I grew up on them as a family. I still watch them
Yeah.
to this day. So what's kind of the story of A Very Farmington Christmas and how it plays off of that Hallmark theme?
Yeah, as you said, it does spoof the Hallmark movies, and I like to think even if you love Hallmark movies or you hate Hallmark movies, you're gonna love the show because it pulls at your heartstrings of all of those great Hallmark movie moments, but it also spoofs it in a very loving way that if you're someone who says these are too cheesy, this is also for you because it really spoofs those moments as well. Essentially, it follows a couple, a romantic lead, our romantic pair, as most Hallmark movies do. And then the other 2 actors play all of the auxiliary people, the best friend, the son, the dad, the boss, like all of those different characters that come into these stories are played by 2 actors. The other thing that's so great about it is it doesn't take itself seriously in any way. It lets the audience fully into the spoof that's happening. There's changes that happen on stage where the audience completely knows one actor is changing from one character to another character, and there's no apology about it. It's just, this is what we have to do to keep the story going. And it will, as I said, pull at your heartstrings, but also really help you laugh at all of those kind of cheesy Hallmark moments.
I have recently seen a production of this, and I love that the actors are also in on kind of the joke of that. Like it's a spoof. I won't spoil anything, but there's one moment where the main character is kind of like, "Are you gonna be following me to my house?" And like
Yeah,
it's just like
yeah,
it's like that moment of like we're all kind of in on the joke, and like you said,
absolutely.
whether you hate it or you love Hallmark movies, you can really appreciate it, and everybody can kind of take something away from that.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely.
So, what drew you to wanting to audition for the show?
I also saw it in Williamston, which was the original production. This is written by a local playwright, a Michigan playwright. And as he told this story, we had the great privilege of having the playwright come to one of our rehearsals, which is such a unique experience and was so kind of nerve-wracking, but also so cool. And he told the story about post-COVID, like in Williamston, the Williamston Theater, they were looking for something to do, something that would be inexpensive. And his wife was like, "You should write the show. Like you should go for it." And he did. And they produced it now 2 times. They're producing it this season as well, I believe. So they've done it twice, and it's been done locally in Michigan as well. And so that kind of local bend to it also drew me. I live in Farmington, right in the downtown district. And the other beauty of the show is it's sort of like a choose your own adventure plug and play with the community that surrounds the theater that it's being produced in. And you can put in local references and things that the audience will really get. And so I love that component of it. And I love seeing Farmington be outlined and be put in the spotlight in that way. And I also really treasure, I've been a longtime member of the Farmington Players, and Cynthia Tupper, who's the director, is someone I've worked with many times in the past, and I love working with her. And so when she agreed to direct it, I was like, I have to audition for this show. I welcome the opportunity to share in this kind of artistic experience with her for sure.
It's really cool too because and this goes to the writing, but like it doesn't feel clunky when you put in a city, because it feels very natural to the story. Like you're like it's places that people who are from Farmington or who visit Farmington will know, and they'll visit, and it's just like it might be just like a mention of like this coffee shop, but it just feels so natural and unique to the story, which is really cool.
Yeah, and I think it also speaks to that is the kind of magic formula of the Hallmark movie. It is a formula and it takes place in any town USA. And this play can take place in any town USA. And as you said, you just drop in those little references there. People are like, oh yeah, I've been to that coffee place or I go to that shop. And it just really, like you said, brings it so close to home. People love to feel a part of it. And I believe this show really brings the audience in, not only on the jokes of the Hallmark spoof, but also just that warm feeling of being part of the community that you live in, that you work in, that you see every day.
Now, is the community itself also getting involved with the production? Because I know that it feels like this is a very unifying show in a way.
Yeah, in many ways, it definitely, they have been. I mean, we've reached out to a lot of the local businesses that we feature, right? We didn't want to feature them and not let them know that it was happening because it was kind of a mutually beneficial experience too, right? To let them
Right.
know that their place of business was going to be featured. Are you okay with it? How would you like to, would you like to participate in any way? So we've definitely done that with many of the businesses that are featured. And we also, there's a component in the show where we actually go into the audience and someone every night plays the mayor of Farmington. And we've connected with local government officials and local personalities to try to get them to come to the show and have city council members and former mayors and people who are in local politics play that role in the show. And so that's kind of an exciting component as well when you'll see some of your local politicians also there in the audience, air quotes, playing the mayor of Farmington.
That is really cool. And again, it brings that hometown feel back to it.
Yeah, yeah.
So in the show, as you mentioned, you're only one of 4 cast members, but you're also somebody who is playing a lot of roles. So what is that
hmm
kind of like for you?
I've done this once before in another show where I played multiple characters, and I got to play 2, and it was a lot of fun. And when this opportunity, and I saw the show, and I said, I want to play the actor. It's called Actor 2, which is not a very glamorous name, but that's the role that I have. But I play 4 different characters, and I really love that we thought through each of these characters, their story, and how they contribute to the overall message and the plot that there is. But also, how do you differentiate the vocal quality of that character? And I really thought a lot about that in my performance. Is I want it to be very clear when I come out as an 8-year-old boy that that translates, right? And that
Right.
it's honest, and that he's naive, and that he is, has that 8-year-old quality about him, right? And then on the other side of that, I also play an 80-year-old dad of George, the main romantic lead. So being able to kind of think about how would you vocalize those 2 people, and not just use your regular voice, of course, but have that differentiation that goes along with the costuming and all of the other parts and elements of the show. So that has been, as an actor, so fun. And we had our dress rehearsal Wednesday evening, a couple days ago, and just I've gotten some feedback from the members who got to see it, and they were like, "I really love Danny. He's so fun. Like, I love how you portrayed him," and so I'm really looking forward to sharing that with the audiences over the next 3 weekends.
Has that been a challenge to developing like multiple different personalities while you're there on stage for these
It
characters?
definitely, oh my goodness, it definitely has. And, often, times when you're in a show, you only get to play one, right? And so you
Right.
can really thoughtfully go through what's the motivation of this character in every single scene and how do they get through the end of the play or the musical. And in this case, you have to like jump into being dad for like honestly 3 lines and then go off and then play Danny, the 8-year-old son, for a scene. And so that's been really complex, I think, backstage, because there's a lot of moments that I walk off stage even today and I'm like, okay, who do I become next? And how do I get into that and then get on stage and do that moment? So it has definitely been a challenge, but one that has been a lot of fun. And at the end, the changes come so fast at the end that we've even worked in bits where, you come on stage and you don't complete the costume change, but you, for the joke, joke, you kind of like, oh, I forgot that I left the glasses on, so I gotta take those off. And
Right.
again, letting the audience into the fact that this is what's happening.
Right, because of the two people who play, actor one and actor two, like you have a lot of running on and off, changing. There's a lot of energy to the role that it's probably hard to keep up for 90 minutes.
It really is, and honestly, there's a couple of changes and a couple of moments where I'm just like, I hope I make it, and we've choreographed, of course, the backstage moments. Like the backstage choreography has been just as integral to the onstage blocking, and we've been doing costume changes for almost 3 weeks now. So
Okay.
that has been, hugely important to the scope and how the show runs, because if we had started that a week ago, we wouldn't have been able to be successful.
So, how has your preparation for A Very Farmington Christmas differed from other productions you've been a part of?
Well, I think it's been a big undertaking, as I said, to kind of slide into each of these characters.
Sure.
I also have never really, not often, played a character where I've had to develop a voice. And honestly, Annie, who is the 8-year-old boy, has taken me a long time to really get into his mindset, right? That was one that I struggled with a lot, is how to
Sure.
play an 8-year-old in a way that isn't too kitschy or too like make him seem unimportant or dumb, but he's naive, but he also has some really beefy moments of poignancy that he has to portray, and he's so integral to George, the main romantic lead, his journey of how he sees the world. So having that kind of walking that fine line has been a real challenge, but such a fun experience. And it's so rewarding that I have had some people say, like, Danny's my favorite character that you play now. And I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you. That's one that I really struggled with, kind of finding him in the rehearsal process.
Which I could totally understand, because he is so, I mean, he's a child, and having to portray a child on stage, which we haven't met a child in so long, and to
Mm-hmm.
find it, and he's such an exaggerated child at that,
Yeah.
because of the
Yeah.
Hallmark feel. I can see where that would be really challenging to kind of find that voice.
Yeah.
Seeing that this is a holiday movie, obviously I have to ask you a few holiday questions. Not a
Mm-hmm.
holiday movie. This is a holiday show based on the Hallmark movies. So during the Christmas season, do you find that you are more of a city holiday person or a small town charm Christmas kind of person?
That's a good question. I have never been in a big city for the holiday season, so I can't say I've experienced that. I love big cities, though, so I do think that would be something I would be into. But I think at heart, I'm a small town charm person if I had to pick. I mean, like I said, I live right in the historic district of downtown Farmington. Holidays, which is referenced in the show, starts tomorrow on Saturday here in downtown Farmington, and I'll be a part of that. Go to the light parade and like literally do some of the things that we reference in the show itself. So I love that. I love having a walkable community like Farmington is. And so I think the charm of that is just so endearing. I'm not a huge Hallmark movie person. Like, I haven't watched a ton of Hallmark movies. I have a little bit for research while doing this project, but it's not something that I normally stop on, during,
Sure.
on a regular basis. But all of that kind of like warmth that they bring of those small towns, I think, is something that everyone wants to connect with, right? You want to find a place where you feel like you belong and you feel like you can contribute and you feel like you can have a voice and be important. And I think that the show also leans into that, right? Like finding your place where you belong, right?
Sure.
That's kind of the nugget of the show.
I think that, while a lot of the Hallmark films can be boiled down to, like, they're all pretty much the same. That's why this show is so funny, but it is about identity and usually about finding yourself because of the small town, the romance, the holiday traditions and things like that. It sounds like you have a few holiday traditions of yourself, such as you said, going to the lighting of Farmington as
Mm-hmm.
well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So one final question for you then is just, what are you hoping audiences take away from this production?
Well, I think that I want them to laugh, right? And I'm so excited for that part. I want people to enjoy the experience that they have at the Farmington Players. I want people to walk away with just a little breath of fresh air and that escape that theater can bring us when it comes to all of the things that are happening around us, whether you have, things in your family, things at work, things just in the world. And theater can be that moment to take that breath. And this show is absolute just pause and enjoy it. And I want the audience to feel that. I hope that they will. And I look forward to, hearing that from the audience when we do this show and getting their energy. And I think that people who come to see shows at the Farmington Players have historically just been just the most thoughtful subscriber base that we have, and really love the work that we do. And I look forward to bringing this show to them and just a small nugget of joy for their holiday season. I hope it will be.
And I have to agree that this show is just one of those ones that well, first off, it's not super long. Some people
No.
think that theater tends to be 2-3 hours long, but it's 90 minutes. It's no longer than a holiday film. But truthfully, it's one of those ones that you don't have to, you can just enjoy it. You can just sit with it. And like, that's what the holiday season's kind of about. It's just coming together as a community, as a family, and just enjoying time together. And that's kind of what this is.
100%.
So thank you so much for speaking with us today. I am so excited to see the show, and it's been such a pleasure talking with you.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. It's been a pleasure, and I really appreciate the conversation.
So A Very Farmington Christmas runs through December 20th. So get your tickets now from Farmington Players, and we'll see you at the show.